Hello everyone, hi, good evening, and welcome to another week, another episode. I'm just trying to prepare for the week, and I ordered for food. I know a lady who cooks, and from time to time, I order food from her. So for the next 2 weeks, I've ordered 2 plates of jollof rice and meat. That's second plate, and then 1 plate of vegetable soup. So it's time to pack all this into the fridge. First plate of jollof rice. I think this is about 4 liters, so 4,500 ml. I'm not sure, but I think I should be able to take 6 plates of rice from this. Hi guys, so I'm done preparing food downstairs. Even though I did not prepare the food, I bought the food, but I'm done sorting it out, and I've also ironed my uniform for work. So this week I'm working 4 days. So I'm going to work 3 out of those 4 days, and I have class on the fourth day. So tomorrow is Tuesday, so I'm going to work Tuesday. Then I have class on Wednesday. Then I'm off duty on Thursday. Then I have work Friday and Saturday. So the possibility of me even trying to do my assignment this week might be a bit slim. But I'm going to persevere and try to do something on Thursday. Today is Monday. I was actually free today, but I had to go get my passport renewed in London, and I went to the Nigerian High Commission in London. And honestly, it was better than my expectations actually. I had very low expectations when I was going because I just prepared my mind to be prepared for anything. But it was okay. I think I spent about 2-3 hours in there. The only thing was that they collected our phones from us. So I was like 2-3 hours in there, just not doing anything. And I didn't have my phone with me. I had my laptop. I did want to bring out my laptop and do some work, but I think the main idea of them collecting our phones from us was because they didn't want any electronics and they didn't want us taking any videos or taking any pictures while we're in there. So I was just like, you know what, let me just keep my laptop before someone comes and take it. Um, but yeah, but it was okay actually. It wasn't bad. It's just that we waited and waited and it's just the waiting. But the waiting was not like a stressful waiting. It was like a peaceful waiting. And I did everything I needed to do, did my biometrics, and I was off. So I went to the Nigerian High Commission to renew my passport, and then they're going to send it to us via post. Yeah. I think the good thing is that they gave me my old passport. So it's because I was like, what happens when you give them your old passport and you have all your visas in that passport? But they didn't give me my old passport, so they will just send the new one with me. Praise the Lord for that. So yeah, I'm just going to get changed into my pajamas and then sleep because I'm working a long day tomorrow and I already know it's already going to be busy. So yeah, then to work, class, then Thursday off day. And we're going to try to maximize Thursday to the best of our abilities. So, and then back to work again, 9th on Friday, 9th on Saturday. Yeah. But we'll see how this week goes. I'm just realizing that I did not update you guys after class last week. Last week's class was actually interesting. It was renal day. So we talked about like the kidneys, and AKI and CKD, and we also talked about like hemodialysis, CRRT. Yeah, it was actually interesting. I find that respiratory system and cardiovascular system can actually be a lot, and you can get why it's a lot because if there's any problem with these two systems, they will affect every other system in the body. But now that we are deviating away from respiratory and cardiovascular, I seem to find other systems a bit easier than respiratory and cardiovascular. So renal day was actually interesting, and yeah, though I'll still need to buy some textbook. I have textbooks at home, but it's not easy to go to work and try to school at the same time. Yeah, it's not easy. When I was little, I did not understand how hard it was. Don't let me say when I was little. When I was younger, I didn't understand how hard it was to go to school and work at the same time. But now that I'm doing it, it's actually very hard. Working full time and trying to do a course on the side is quite hard, but somehow I have to do this. And time is sticking to the assignment due date. So yeah, enough playing and enough partying and all that stuff. It's time to get work done. It's time to get work done. But I'll see you guys on Thursday. No. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Stay tuned. Hi guys. So today is Thursday and I am here to give you a rundown of what happened yesterday in class. So yesterday was class. I had been out all weekend. I worked on Tuesday, came back home, slept, and woke up for class. I didn't check anything. I didn't check my pre-session activities. I didn't even check what was going to happen in class that day. I just went to class. On getting to class, I just saw that everybody was bringing our presentation. I was like, what's going on now? What presentation are we doing? Turns out we had an assignment to do a presentation as a group. So if I had checked the websites, like the university's website, and had a look at what was going to happen in class on Wednesday, I would have had an idea that we had an assignment. But because I did not check, and somehow just wasn't in class the previous week when they were talking about it. So turns out they had given us an assignment on the ABCDF bundle, and they had divided us into groups, or our teacher had divided us into groups. And my group was to present on the D part of the ABCDF bundle, which is to talk about delirium, how to assess, prevent, and manage delirium. And then we're three in my group. The other guys came in, and turns out all three of us did not know that we had an assignment. Though one of us knew, but because she wasn't sure, I thought she was referring to something else. So anyway, kind of like all three of us kind of did not know that we had an assignment. All three of us did not check our websites. Yeah. And we were supposed to present. It wasn't just even like doing the assignment and submitting it. We were supposed to present the assignments in class, and everybody else was ready apart from us. Or if they were not ready, they were just putting in their finishing touches. Guys, I am the most unserious person, and this is not a thing I should be proud of, but I just don't know how I got to this place. Anyway, the three of us sat down in class, and while others, started presenting, we had to quickly come up with something on delirium. So, since we had to talk on how to assess, the first thing that came to my mind was the CAM ICU. And that's the confusion assessment method for ICU, which we use like every day in practice. So that was like the first thing, like CAM ICU. So I just looked for I looked for a paper on CAM ICU. Thankfully, there was this Cochrane review on the CAM ICU, so I used that, quickly summarized it. I didn't even go through the whole paper. I just looked through like the abstracts. I was like, okay, good. That's good enough. Quickly summarized it, put it there in the prevention. No, put it there in the assess. Then my other partner was working on like prevention. So we quickly came up on like pharmacological, like prevention, and then I did a bit of the management also, like pharmacological and non-pharmacological ways of treating delirium. Thankfully, we were able to just come up with something just in time for our presentation. And to believe this is a simple assignment, it wouldn't have taken me more than a day to do the assignment. But the funny thing is that it's a different thing if I knew and I, postponed it. But this one, I did not know that there was an assignment. So I was just going into class feeling like, this is going to be like any other day. Whew. Whoa. That was terrible. But it was good also, because it shows that the three of us could work under pressure. Because I think we had like other groups presented, so that must have taken like an hour while they were presenting, and we used kind of like that hour to quickly come up with something for our assignments, and we're able to submit and present. Might have been the worst presentation out of all the other four groups, because they came prepared. They had like lots of evidence with their own, they had graphs in their own, they had infographics. We had nothing. We just had words. We had words in ours, and that was it. But we scaled through. But hopefully that doesn't repeat itself again. Yeah. Because we didn't even have any excuse to say we did not know. Because every other person knew that they had an assignment. It was only us that did not know that we had an assignment. How unserious can we be? Though, like I said, one of my teammates kind of had an inkling, but she wasn't sure. So I was just like, no, I don't think we have an assignment. I think we have. It's fine. We scaled through. That's what happened. So yesterday we had so we all did our presentations. Yeah, thankfully we scaled through, and thankfully the presentation was not going to be graded. So imagine them grading that rubbish we did. Guys, I've been doing a lot of rubbish. I need to sit tight and come to my senses. I don't plan to fail this module. By God's grace, I'm going to pass it, and all of my classmates are going to pass it in Jesus' name. Amen. So after the presentation, the most wonderful thing happened. So our instructor brought in someone that used to be a patient in our unit, and he came in with his wife, and he gave us, like, when a patient is recounting their experience of being in the ICU and the point of view from his side of being a patient. And oh god, that has to be the best thing that has happened to me in this module, because when I'm in the ICU or as a nurse in the ICU, I don't really sometimes understand things from the patient's point of view or from the relative's point of view. Like, I know I'm treating them, I'm caring for them, and sometimes I don't even once they get discharged from the ICU, I don't know what happens after. I don't know what their journey is like after. I don't know, like, that sometimes they have such a long rehab period. I mean, I can phantom it, but it's nice to hear just a point of view from a patient. And he was just telling us, like, recounting his experiences and how he was delirious. Was he delirious? Yeah. How he was, like how he was hallucinating and he was seeing things, and oh, bless him. Like, that was beautiful, him just recounting his experience. But I have to tell you, that was the most beautiful thing. And also his wife also recounted her experience, just the point of view of being a relative and having your loved one in the ICU and seeing them intubated and having infections, and you know feeling helpless sometimes. And oof, and he spent such a long time in the ICU. He spent about 53 days or so, or 50 days, I'm not sure. So that would have been almost like 2 months or so in the ICU. Imagine being 2 months in the ICU, not like in the hospital in general, just in the ICU. And then he recounted his experience when he went to the ward, and then when he got discharged, and it was just a lot. But his wife gave us, like, him as he was recounting his experience, and he had such a good humor about it, because if I was the one, I'm not sure I'd have such humor. He was making jokes, and in hindsight just laughing about some of the things that happened and how he's still dealing with issues. So that has been, I think, about some years from when it happened, how he's still dealing with issues from being in the ICU. And I wish we would have more of that, because it helps the nurse, or it helps us as healthcare professionals understand some things that patients go through in the ICU, and also how to involve the relatives more in care. Like, that was like so amazing. Like, now I know, like, sometimes when relatives come in, I could ask them to do the simple things. I don't have to be the one doing everything for them. Simple things like eye care, I could ask them, do you want to, because sometimes when they come in, I'm getting to understand that they feel helpless seeing their patients in that kind of state. And even sometimes when we are talking to them and when we are trying to explain to them and update them, they can't even comprehend the information. Like, the information is just going over their head because they're just so overwhelmed. And yeah, that was like the best thing that's ever happened in this model. Yeah, it was wonderful. And yeah, so thanks to our instructor for doing that. Like, that was beautiful. I hope we have more of that, because it really lets you know, like, okay, this is how the patient feels, this is how the relatives feel. And also, I think it helps us understand delirium more. It helps us understand what the patient means by when they're hallucinating and seeing things. And it was wonderful. So the next class we had was about critical care outreach and follow-up clinic, and we had one of the nurses who is in charge there, come up and talk to us about what critical care outreach is all about, how it came to be, and what they do in the follow-up clinic. So when patients get discharged to the ICU and they get discharged to the ward, about 2-3 months after they've been discharged from the hospital, this follow-up clinic would call them and check on them, how they're doing, and invite them. They have a criteria they follow, but they invite them to be seen and just to see how they're doing, how they're getting on physically, how they're getting on, with their lives. Like, and when she was talking, she said you'll be surprised the kind of issues people have after being in the ICU. People have breathing, even after they've left the ICU, they've left the ward, they've left the hospital. People still have breathing issues. People have issues with mobility. Like, not everybody is able to wash themselves by themselves after their discharge. Even things like, just raising your hand and lifting them up to pick something on the shelf or in the cupboard is quite hard. And yeah, it's such a wonderful job that she does, and how, she brings people. So sometimes people, because, when they are sedated and when they are in a coma, and sometimes even when they are delirious, some patients cannot remember their ICU stay. It's like they feel like they have a memory gap, if you get what I mean. They have a memory gap. They can't remember. They know that something happened during this period, but they don't have an idea what happened, or they have like a distorted memory of what has happened during their ICU stay, and how, if they are up for it, she brings them into the ICU, shows them where they were admitted into, shows them like, the layouts, gives them like, she tries to bridge that memory. Yeah, and she encouraged us to like please give ICU diaries. ICU diaries to patients and to their relatives. Like, when they're able to read those diaries, it kind of helps fill that memory gap that they had while in the ICU. And yeah, and then the second person that came in was like I might be wrong now, but I know she's more into the psych part of it. And she helps, patients with PTSD and peaks and all that kind of stuff, and just helps them get on with their, day-to-day life. And I'd say I thoroughly enjoyed the class. Yes, the first part of the class was quite stressful for me because I was trying to do assignments. But after the assignment was all done, the rest of the class, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it when the patient and his wife came in and talked to us. And I enjoyed the critical care and follow-up clinic, and I enjoyed the other session. And yeah, it was a nice day. Today I'm going to the library because time is going, guys. Just 2 months to 8 more weeks to assignment due dates, and I cannot say I've done anything. So much for someone that did not want to procrastinate. But yeah, no more playing around. Let's get to work. So I'm going to the library and let's go. Hi guys. Today is Friday. Yes, today is Friday. So yesterday I went to the library and I started to have a look at the research papers I have downloaded previously. So I want to see if I can do the rehab presentation assignment, get it done with, and then focus on the case study assignment. So I was looking at the papers basically, and it's such a slow process for me, because it's like you have to read the paper, digest it, see if it's going to be useful for you. If it's going to be useful for you, what part is going to be useful for you, and all that. So yeah, that's what I went to do in the library yesterday. So I don't know why. I was supposed to hang out with a friend yesterday. Well, yeah, and then I totally forgot about it. I think the fact that I went to class on Wednesday, and I realized how unserious I have been, just kind of reset my brain, and I just forgot about all the activities I had planned for this week. So I have another colleague from work who is leaving work, and she's also kind of moving to a new city, and she had like a hangout yesterday, and I told her that, oh, I'm going to be there, don't worry, only for me to get home. And I was like, wait, are you not supposed to be somewhere else? I was like, no, I'm not supposed to be somewhere else. And I checked my calendar, and it is just right there on my calendar, like, you are supposed to be here at a certain time. And I was like, oh my god. I had to text her and apologize. So I'm going in early to work because she's at work right now. She's going to be closing soon. So I'm going in early to work to go and meet her, because I actually did get her something. So I got her like, oh my god. So I just got her like this pair of earrings I got from TK Maxx. And then I also got her a card. And I hope that's enough peace offering to pacify her for not being at the gathering yesterday. Yeah, and this is another person I have to say goodbye to this month. Um, yeah, and I wish her the very best also where she's going to. It's just, you meet people and they have to move on with their lives and make, decisions that are in their best interest. It's just always very sad to say goodbye. And yeah. So that is where I am rushing to. So that's it. Yeah, gonna give her like that. So yeah, that's it. And then I have work. I'll just hang around work somewhere. Just maybe try and sleep somewhere or just chill and see if I can do some assignment and then go for my night shift. I've got night shift again on Saturday night, and that'll be it for the week. Alright guys. See you in the next episode. Bye.